When I was first learning to meditate, the instruction was to simply pay attention to my breath, and when my mind wandered, to bring it back. Sounded simple enough, yet I'd sit on these silent retreats, sweating through t-shirts in the middle of winter. I'd take naps every chance I got because it was really hard work. Actually, it was exhausting. The instruction was simple enough, but I was missing something really important. So why is it so hard to pay attention? Well, studies show that even when we're really trying to pay attention to something, like maybe this talk, at some point about half of us will drift off into a daydream or have this urge to check our Twitter feed. So what's going on here? It turns out that we're fighting one of the most evolutionarily conserved learning processes currently known in science, one that's conserved back to the most basic nervous systems known to man. This reward-based learning process is called positive and negative reinforcement and basically goes like this. We see some food that looks good. Our brain says, calories, survival. We eat the food, we taste it tastes good. And especially with sugar, our bodies send a signal to our brain that says, remember what you're eating and where you found it. We lay down this context-dependent memory and learn to repeat the process next time. See food, eat food, feel good, repeat. Trigger, behavior, reward. Simple, right? Well, after a while, our creative brains say, you know what? You can use this for more than just remembering where food is. Next time you feel bad, why don't you try eating something good so you'll feel better? We thank our brains for the great idea. Try this and quickly learn that if we eat chocolate or ice cream when we're mad or sad, we feel better. Same process, just a different trigger. Instead of this hunger signal coming from our stomach, this emotional signal, feeling sad, triggers that urge to eat. Maybe in our teenage years, we were a nerd at school, and we see those rebel kids outside smoking, we think, hey, I want to be cool, so we start smoking. The Marlboro Man wasn't a dork, and that was no accident. See cool, smoke to be cool, feel good. Repeat. Trigger, behavior, reward. And each time we do this, we learn to repeat the process, and it becomes a habit. So later, feeling stressed out triggers that urge to smoke a cigarette or to eat something sweet. Now with these same brain processes, we've gone from learning to survive to literally killing ourselves with these habits. Obesity and smoking are among the leading preventable causes of morbidity and mortality in the world. So back to my breath. What if instead of fighting our brains or trying to force ourselves to pay attention, we instead tapped into this natural reward-based learning process, but added a twist? What if instead we just got really curious about what was happening in our momentary experience? I'll give you an example. In my lab, we studied whether mindfulness training could help people quit smoking. Now, just like trying to force myself to pay attention to my breath, they could try to force themselves to quit smoking. And the majority of them had tried this before and failed, on average 6 times. Now, with mindfulness training, we dropped the bit about forcing and instead focused on being curious. In fact, we even told them to smoke. What? Yeah, we said, go ahead and smoke. Just be really curious about what it's like when you do. And what did they notice? Well, here's an example from one of our smokers. She said, mindful smoking smells like stinky cheese and tastes like chemicals. Yuck. Now, she knew cognitively that smoking was bad for her. That's why she joined our program. What she discovered just by being curiously aware when she smoked was that smoking tastes like shit. Now, she moved from knowledge to wisdom. She moved from knowing in her head that smoking was bad for her to knowing it in her bones. And this spell of smoking was broken. She started to become disenchanted with her behavior. Now, the prefrontal cortex, that youngest part of our brain from an evolutionary perspective, it understands on an intellectual level that we shouldn't smoke. And it tries its hardest to help us change our behavior, to help us stop smoking, to help us stop eating that second, that third, that fourth cookie. We call this cognitive control. We're using cognition to control our behavior. Unfortunately, this is also the first part of our brain that goes offline when we get stressed out. which isn't that helpful. Now, we can all relate to this in our own experience. We're much more likely to do things like yell at our spouse or kids when we're stressed out or tired, even though we know it's not going to be helpful. We just can't help ourselves. Now, when the prefrontal cortex goes offline, we fall back into our old habits, which is why this disenchantment is so important. Seeing what we get from our habits helps us understand them in a deeper level, to know it in our bones, so we don't have to force ourselves to hold back or restrain ourselves from behavior. We're just less interested in doing it in the first place. And this is what mindfulness is all about. Seeing really clearly what we get when we get caught up in our behaviors, becoming disenchanted on a visceral level, and from this disenchanted stance, naturally letting go. This isn't to say that, poof, magically we quit smoking, but over time, as we learn to see more and more clearly the results of our actions, we let go of old habits and form new ones. The paradox here is that mindfulness is just about being really interested in getting close and personal with what's actually happening in our bodies and minds from moment to moment. This willingness to turn toward our experience rather than trying to make unpleasant cravings go away as quickly as possible. And this willingness to turn toward our experience is supported by curiosity, which is naturally rewarding. What does curiosity feel like? It feels good. And what happens when we get curious? We start to notice the cravings are simply made up of body sensations. Oh, there's tightness, there's tension, there's restlessness, and that these body sensations come and go. These are bite-sized pieces of experiences that we can manage from moment to moment, rather than getting clobbered by this huge, scary craving that we choke on. In other words, when we get curious, we step out of our old fear-based reactive habit patterns and we step into being. We become this inner scientist where we're eagerly awaiting that next data point. Now, this might sound too simplistic to affect behavior, but in one study we found that mindfulness training was twice as good as gold standard therapy at helping people quit smoking. So it actually works. And when we studied the brains of experienced meditators, we found that parts of a neural network of self-referential processing called the default mode network were at play. Now, one current hypothesis is that a region of this network called the posterior cingulate cortex is activated not necessarily by craving itself, but when we get caught up in it, when we get sucked in and it takes us for a ride. In contrast, when we let go, step out of the process just by being curiously aware of what's happening, this same brain region quiets down. Now we're testing app and online-based mindfulness training programs that target these core mechanisms. And ironically, use the same technology that's driving us to distraction to help us step out of our unhealthy habit patterns of smoking, of stress eating, and other addictive behaviors. Now, remember that bit about context-dependent memory? We can deliver these tools to people's fingertips in the contexts that matter most, so we can help them tap into their inherent capacity to be curiously aware right when that urge to smoke or stress eat or whatever arises. So if you don't smoke or stress eat, maybe the next time you feel this urge to check your email when you're bored or you're trying to distract yourself from work, or maybe to compulsively respond to that text message when you're driving, see if you can tap into this natural capacity. Just be curiously aware of what's happening in your body and mind in that moment. It will just be another chance to perpetuate one of our endless and exhaustive habit loops, or step out of it. Instead of see text message, compulsively text back, feel a little bit better, notice the urge, get curious, feel the joy of letting go, and repeat. Thank you.
Meditation can sometimes seem very complicated and difficult to learn, and like something you have to have practiced for many years in order for it to be beneficial. But that is not the case. The truth is that everyone can learn it, and that it is not as complicated as it may look. Many people worry whether or not they are doing the meditation right. Meditation is simply a technique for relaxing your mind and body, and you can't really do it wrong. So don't be so hard on yourself. So let's start today's meditation exercise, a simple breathing exercise. So start by setting aside a certain time a day where you will not be interrupted by anyone or anything. This could, for instance, be in the morning before the rest of the family wakes up, or in the evening before going to sleep if you're not too tired. Allow yourself to have a moment alone each day where you only focus on you and your meditation, so that when you are going to meditate, you detach yourself completely from the rest of the world and allow yourself to be alone for the entire meditation, whether it will be a short 5-minute meditation exercise or a 30-minute exercise. The most important thing is that you get started and experience the great benefits of meditation. You will start to feel less stressed out, and the small things that used to annoy you will no longer have the same effect on you. Your health will greatly be improved, and your concentration and energy level will be greater than ever before. So yes, there are many reasons why meditation would be good for you and your life. So let us start this meditation practice. Start by deciding how you are going to sit. No, you do not have to master the full lotus position right from the start. You only need to make sure that you are comfortable and with a nice erect posture. A straight spine allows for better energy flow, so make sure your back is straight in a natural way. Try rolling back your shoulders to help straighten your back. You may want to sit on a pillow or on your bed. It is completely up to you. This meditation exercise we will do today will only be 5 minutes long, as it is very difficult to stay focused when you are just starting out. Your mind is going to wander a lot, and you will feel restless and like you can't really relax. This is completely normal, as your body is not used to relaxing in the middle of the day, and your mind is always being stimulated by thoughts, music, conversations, and so on. So it will take a while to get used to meditating, but after 1 week of daily practice, you will start to feel how it slowly gets easier and much more comfortable. After a couple of weeks, you will no longer feel like meditation is something you have to do, but it will be something you actually want to do, and you will begin to crave it and feel like you need it to ground yourself. So be patient and start small. So let's start with this simple 5-minute meditation exercise. Close your eyes and focus on your breathing. The breath is the very foundation in meditation, and when your mind starts to wander and inner chatter begins, you can always return to the breath to stay focused. Do not try to push away the thoughts or become frustrated. You simply have to acknowledge their presence without judging them or interacting with them, and then slowly and naturally return your focus to your breathing. So breathe in deeply through your nose and allow your chest and stomach to expand as you are filling your body with nice fresh air. And then breathe out fully and slowly through your mouth. So remove all tension from your body. Breathe in slowly and deeply, and then breathe out all worries and frustrations. Once again, breathe in deeply, filling your body with cool air, and then breathe out slowly and fully, and let the air remove all negative energy from your body. Now return to your normal breathing pattern and simply observe it. So pay attention to the physical sensation of breathing, the cool air entering your nostrils, the expansion of your belly, and the warmness of the air leaving your body. Allow yourself to be present without worrying about the past or the future. There is only now. Allow yourself to be completely thoughtless as you are only focused on sensing the breath. As you become more and more relaxed, your breath also becomes calmer and smaller, as your body no longer needs that much oxygen. Sit in silence and just be. And when thoughts enter your mind, simply return to your breathing, to your inhaling and exhaling, to the steadiness of the breath. Just enjoy this very moment, this moment of peace. Breathing in and breathing out, allowing yourself to be completely relaxed, free of worries and free of frustrations. Loosen all the muscles in your body. Just sit in silence and observe the breath. Observe the body, the inhaling and the exhaling. Breathing in and breathing out. So peaceful, so calm, so relaxing. Now slowly open your eyes and stretch your body. Meditation is a way of life, and it needs to become a natural habit in your life and something you practice daily.